Hello, Mzansi. Welcome to it. Once again, Hollywoodbets bringing you GameON at an exciting time in something new in the world. What we've all been waiting for months now has finally started, which is the FIFA Club World Cup, the new look, new feel, FIFA Club World Cup. And of course, there's so much to talk about from an English point of view, German as well as South African. And Shane McGregor joining me to talk English clubs to get it all started. And let's start with Chelsea, looking for a good start in this tournament. And they were, of course, up against the side from LAFC. And good start, would you say, for Chelsea? The comfortable 2-0 win, was it all that comfortable? Is this Chelsea looking like the Chelsea that ended the season strongly in England, just carrying it on now to what's happening in America?
Yeah, morning, good afternoon, good to be here with you again. Yeah, they started off well. It doesn't matter how you get the result as long as you win, because that's the most important thing, is the 3 points and towards qualification. They were under pressure at times in this game, so there wasn't that they had it all their own way and was going through it swimmingly. But it's a good start, 2-0, you're not conceding, you got the 3 points, that's a great start, what a way to go, I just got a comment on this tournament, it's a new thing, it's the whole new 32 tournament. What do we expect from the Americans? Razzmatazz, introduce players individually before a game.
Sure, something a little different.
Something different. I don't know if I enjoy that too much, but it's all part and parcel of the game.
Well, we're used to the walkout, and when the team comes on, it's a team game. I also wanted to get your thoughts on just the general turnout and the excitement from a host nation point of view that it is in America. You're thinking maybe we're missing out on something where the rest of the world would be truly excited, and the stadium might be giving us something a little bit extra. Not to criticize the Americans, but what do you think in that regard? Yeah,
I think it's been a little bit disappointing with certain games. The stadium hasn't been full, and that doesn't help. Especially I heard the Chelsea manager coming out. We're not expecting this. We're expecting a full stadium. We're used to that. Yes. You've got to adjust. It's professionals. You have to adjust. But all to do with the World Cup coming up. They're trying to get and generate the interest so that by the time the World Cup comes, you're going to have full stadiums. Well, they'll get there. I think once the playoffs start, you'll see those stadiums will be full. Right,
now let's talk the rest of the teams in the group here, because you got Los Angeles, of course, who lost out to Chelsea with a 2-0 scoreline, but still gave a good account of themselves, I think it's fair to say, as you agree. Then there's the Brazilians, Flamengo. They got the 2-0 win over the African side, Esperance. Your thoughts on that start from a Brazilian point of view, and also Esperance and how much they have to do now, having started off on a losing note?
Well, it's all to do now for them, Once you come in and you've lost your first game, you've got to win the next one. Simple, over and done with. There's no such thing as coming out and getting a draw. You have to win. The pressure's on you. Flamengo, this is one of the teams that you've got to watch out for. These South American sides in this kind of a tournament, they're going to be the dark horses. This is one team I would be wary of. I really would be. Yeah, they got the result 2-0. Did the job. Now it's going to be between them and Chelsea. We're going to be top of that log.
Yeah. So those are your two favourites, is it safe to say?
Well, there should be. I mean, it's difficult to come back after you've lost your first game, especially not scoring a goal as well, goal difference. But having won both Flamengo and Chelsea, they must be the favourites. But Flamengo is one of those sides. The other one is Fluminense. There's a couple of South American sides in there that can go well, and they're one of them. I'll be watching these guys.
Now, let's talk Group G. Group G is of interest to us for a few reasons. One, there's an English side there, which is what we follow, of course, Manchester City. The other is the African side. We did with a couple of South African players there that really did look to impress. They got some good chances in the game against City, both Lodge as well as his former Sundowns teammate, Cassius. They lost, however, 2-0 the scoreline. The quality of the chances they got, especially the South African boys, were really good chances.
They were good chances, and unfortunately didn't take them, And against a side like City, you can't not take your chances, We all know how class they are. The big thing for City is Rodri's come back. Yeah, he looked a bit rusty. He's come back in. He's one of their star players, and he's a player that they've been missing big time. Haaland came back from injury, so those are the pluses. Foden started off a house on fire. He won man of the match in this one. The worry is Lewis got sent off. A bit of a worry there. But for me, they just did the job 2-0. A whole host of new players in their squad, so they'll start gelling in as they go along. But for me, the biggest thing is, and it's like a new player anyway, Rodri coming back.
Sure.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of time, but he'll be back to his best.
Especially after the lengthy layoff steady.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
little Lindsay-Loaf, so we've got to understand it is going to be a bit rusty, but that's like a new player for them.
Now, let's talk the interest from a City point of view, because everyone in Europe, everyone in England, everyone worldwide is wondering, is it the same City side that's going to come back and instill fear in the rest of the world? Does Pep have it right in fixing the horror show from last season?
Definitely has. You know, he's brought in a whole host of players, so that's going to make a big difference. Yeah, De Bruyne is gone, there's a few guys gone, but he has to do that. He has to bring in the new players. I think they're going to be a team to watch out for. It might take a short bit of time to get them going, but we all know Pep. He's going to have them firing come start of the season.
In the toughest team in the group, Juventus, they'll play last. Next up, they've got Line. The importance of now momentum before that Juve game, because Juve also started off like a house on fire with a 5-0 win over Line.
I think they'll get the victory over Al-Ain. I mean, they should do. So it's going to boil down to that last game, who's going to be top of the log, basically. So, you know, it doesn't really matter as long as you progress and you go through to the next round.
Well, an exciting start for the English sides, of course, in the FIFA Club World Cup. An exciting start overall here, and just seeing the different styles from all over the world, and of course, bringing the true football lovers to the attention of a new and great FIFA Club World Cup. We take a break, we come back, and we discuss Mamelodi Sundowns, what's happening with them out in the US, and a great start to their group, including looking at what's happening in the relegation promotion playoffs here locally.
Want to bet?
You are on.
Breaking news. Gogo takes a Brian's challenge to a penalty shootout.
Aziz, okay.
Let's go.
Brian looks confident here. What? He's completely missed it. Here comes Gogo. And what a kick! She's done it! She's done the impossible! Hollywoodbets, Azishege. Let's play.
Welcome back, and it's time to talk about what's been happening locally. Firstly, the big news on the local front is the relegation promotion playoffs, and Jerry Skosana joins me. A lot to talk about. Firstly, let's talk about the most recent game in the playoffs. There's one coming up today later, but Cape Town City, Bahamba by Mpumalanga, up against Keswick Stars. The first goals we saw throughout this entire playoff series so far was in this game. 1-1 the scoreline, but we won the game, and Keswick, how unlucky were they not to walk away with 3 points in this match?
I mean, Caesar, first of all, I think Cape Town City have put themselves under pressure. You know, because if you look at their game against Orbit, they should have won the game in Cape Town. So coming away from these teams is still going to be a hurdle for them, because drawing against Keswick, and for me, they were just lucky. They were lucky because Keswick were like on top of their game. They just couldn't get the back of the net more often. Yes, maybe the late penalty did save them from what Cape Town City had, because Cape Town City can always look back and say, we should have defended well to get the 3 points. But anyway, this is a game where you expect things to happen, but not good enough.
For Keswick, they've got some important games coming up later, including a trip to Cape Town. But Utisai Chauke has been such a big part of their season, and last season before that, from a goal-scoring point of view. Game against Cape Town City, and how influential was he in the overall game? I mean, this guy was outstanding, I thought, from an attacker's point of view without the goal.
You always look at that. If ever I'm more on the ball and I'm looking at the keeper as a striker, always I need to have something that I can talk about. But for him to miss a lot of chances, yes, there were like some saves, but a miss, it's a miss. I'm a striker. If I'm given the ball, I miss. I've missed. The keeper saved it.
But if the keeper saves it doesn't target, then you haven't missed it. The keeper saved it. Darren Keith's probably the man of the match here.
I always ask people, what do we mean when you say the target? Is the net not the target?
It's the target,
for you to get a goal.
Yes.
Yes, you're targeting the net, but if the keeper
saves it, doesn't target.
You didn't hit the net. You missed the target, which is the back of the net. And that's how I portray it as a striker.
So you're saying Utisai didn't decide the game for them?
No, it didn't. But I think for him to keep on working so hard, because for me, I give him the credit of being a prolific striker, not just banging in goals, but he's there to give defenders a run for their money. So for me, Chauke is a top striker.
Yes. What are goals overall?
Unfortunately, this is how it happens. You know, promotional relegation playoff, it's always a pressure. You know, Kasrik were like, I think, the third on the log, if I'm not mistaken, and now they're getting a chance to play with a team that comes from the PSL. So for them to miss it, yes, it was a problem, but my worry now is how they're going to fare in Cape Town.
Now, let's talk FIFA World Cup quickly. Mamelodi Sundowns start their group against Ulsan from Korea. They win the game, a couple of disallowed goals, but good football being played here by Mamelodi Sundowns. Good start. There's some tough teams coming ahead. And of course, I'm a player, must break it on this game. One, Uzwane. Your thoughts on Uzwane's return. Two, Reyners, how big a signing has he been for Sundowns this season overall? Mamelodi Sundowns, we Champions League, and now the Club World Cup.
Mina, before saying the season, I just want to give credit to Steve Parker, what he has done to most of these players, because we expect if they come from Cape Town joining teams like Sundowns, it's always a hurdle, you know, because you need to get to the double Jaden Adams. So for Urenes, I think, for me, obviously he was in my team of the season, PSL, you know. So let's talk Umshish. Let's talk Umshish. How is the coach feeling about this pressure that he has put himself under? Because people were talking a lot about Umshish not playing against Pyramids in the CAF Champions League. Now, there was a turn of events to say the coach was talking about he had a special treatment from Umshish training. He had side training for him to be ready for the game. I don't think that's basically what the coach is saying. He's trying to protect himself. Umshish is always there. He can always make the difference. Now he got the nod to be in the starting lineup. The result that they got against Ulsan, what a performance from him. So I think the coach is trying to get something out of the supporters and pressure to say, I did this to Mshishi, but for me, it's not like that. Mshishi is always ready.
Hugo Bruce arrived. South Africans shouted Mshishi.
Yep.
Took a while. Selmia Cardoso arrived. South Africans shouting Mshishi. It's taken a while. Do you think he's now sitting and thinking, hey man,
that's how football is as a coach. You always come and look at the players and look at how they run, how do they perform at training, and then you make a decision of the starting lineup. But somehow you forget about the pressures that goes with those players that you found in a team. Because people knows them in a different dimension of how do they play the game. So for you, you look at training. Maybe you look at Mshishi, the way he runs. To me, everybody says he's limping.
His age.
Yes. You know, or also the factor of the Achilles tendon that he got. I think the coach was thinking of that, but I think Mshishi has proven him wrong in the game they played against Ulsan.
Tough game next, Dortmund. That's what you mean. It's going uphill now.
I think for me that would be a decider, because Sundowns needs to at least get a draw if they can't match Dortmund. You know, it's a pressure game, because if you look at Dortmund and Fluminense, the game itself there, you can tell that Dortmund were also lucky to get a draw with it. So you look at Fluminense that will be coming after Dortmund for Sundowns, it's going to be a big hurdle, because that's where all the teams in the last game, they want to get points and qualify to the next round. So the most important thing now for Sundowns is to make sure they at least get a point out of Dortmund.
Now, Dortmund or Fluminense, Dortmund is next, Fluminense, the Brazilians, the real Brazilians. After that, for Mamelodi Sundowns. The big question is, they've scored just the one goal. Do you see them being strong enough to continue to score goals in order to either get a draw or win? And how big a chance do they have at causing an upset against one of these two teams?
It will be like that if ever they continue what they did against Ulsan. Look at the performance they had. I mean, how many goal-scoring opportunities that they had. I mean, the creativity that they get, the confidence of the players that I saw, the way they played, there was no pressure.
I'm asking you this because towards the end of the season locally, Sundowns basically criticized that we're saying they weren't creating chances. Now, are you seeing a different Sundowns? Are they creating chances? Do you see them able to create and maybe score more?
That's basically what you need to talk about in football, because you cannot just talk about something that it's just flowing. There must be some little bit of hurdles, maybe something which is a cul-de-sac where you need to stop and look at which direction you're taking, and that's what Sundowns are showing. I mean, for me, it's a different Sundowns that I saw from a PSL. You know, different Sundowns in the Champions League. Yeah. And for me, this one is a better Sundowns if they continue playing the way they're playing in the Club World Cup. For me, I see them going through to the next round.
Well, there you have it then. Better Sundowns, different Sundowns. So the more times the coach is spending with the team, it seems, according to Cherry, the better the side is looking. And what a time to save their best for last. And as far as what has been a busy season, of course, at the FIFA Club World Cup, we have our fingers crossed for them. Wish them all the best against Dortmund. Welcome back, and it's time to refocus on the FIFA Club World Cup here. And Shane is back as we talk about teams, the German teams. And what a start from a German point of view from the German champions in Bayern Munich. Talk about being serious about this tournament and sending out a serious message. 10-0 win over Auckland City.
Yeah, 10-0 win, but you got to look at Auckland City and where they come from. A bunch of amateurs. They had to leave certain guys behind because they couldn't get leave to come and play in this tournament, which is a bit sad. Yeah. But you also look at them as a team. Their salary is capped at £66 a week per player. So per player gets a salary cap of £66. Sure. And you take Harry Kane earning £400,000. Yeah. So you got to look at that. Sure. In total last year, they earned £488,000 in prize money. In total the whole year. Ooh. But you look at this, they're going to get 2.6 million for this tournament. So you look at it and say, well, you know, it's well worth their while. But yeah, you got to look at the golf. It is an amateur team, but you've got to get the result anyway. Well done to Bayern. Great
start to Bayern, but when you look at the other two teams quickly, Barca and Benfica, 2-2 scoreline, but what a game and what quality. Great game. What quality there, both sides, yeah?
Great game, you know, like you say, quality in both sides. You know, very, very good game.
So it won't get any easier for Bayern?
No, it's not going to get easier, but you know, they've got the result now and they just got to get one more out of it. So, yeah, but it was a very good result for them. And Benfica, I thought were well worth the draw there.
Now, let's move over to Group F, the group that's currently topped by a South African side, Sundowns, after a good start against Ulsan. But there's the German side, Borussia Dortmund, and they, of course, drew with Fluminense, the scoreline here. Yeah. And, well, we know Dortmund. We know what they've done in the past. And is this a sign of yet another South American side that's just as tough as we feared they might be?
Yeah,
Fluminense scoreline here, I mean.
Yeah, Fluminense is a tough team. You know, they came up against Dortmund and they got the result. They got the point that they needed. That's all they were worried about, because I think for them, they looked at this as their toughest game. But they also got to play Sundowns, and they mustn't take them lightly. I mean, you know, Sundowns got the result in their first game, so they got the 3 points, where the other two teams only got the 1 point. Yeah. So all to play for in this group. But for me, Fluminense are one of those dark teams. You know, you can't write them off. I think they're going to go very far in the tournament. I think they're a very good side. I think that for this game, this game against Dortmund, they were happy with the point. You know, going forward, it's going to be difficult. They should get the job done here against Ulsan. We all saw how they played. They're also a good side. But I think they'll get the job done against them, and it's going to see who goes between Sundowns and Dortmund.
Well, one could argue those are the two toughest teams in the group that ended with a 0-0 scoreline. But one could also argue then it might get easier going forward for the Brazilians after playing the Germans, and the Germans after playing the Brazilians, with Mamelodi Sundowns up next for Dortmund. That's a big game, and Sundowns so close now to sealing a spot in the next group. But jeepers, what a test coming up. Real test.
Basically, you know, Sundowns will need a point to have a very good chance of qualifying. Yeah. So can they go into this game looking at it and saying, well, we need a point? Do we go out and attack like we normally do? Do we try and change our way of playing, park the bus? Sundowns can't park the bus. They don't play that type of football. So it'll be an entertaining game, but I just hope that they can get the result. You know, if they get another point, it's 4 points, and they're looking good. And then the Germans are under pressure because they've only got 2. Because I do think Fluminense will get the point, which will also put them on 4. So you look at it, this is going to be a tight group, and I think this could go down to the last games. Again, because of the whole dynamics in it. I'm just hoping Sundowns they thought, well, we've done the hard work, we've got our first victory. This is a lot easier. It's not. It's going to be a lot harder for them going forward, but I'm sure they're professional enough to understand that.
In this case, someone will be asking the importance of an upset for either Sundowns or Sen against Dortmund or Fluminense for them to just upset the cart a bit here. Is it important for one of these two sides to have an upset? Keep in mind the draw will be seen as an upset.
Yeah, draw will be seen as upset. So, you know, for me, I can't see Ulsan doing it. I really can't. But Sundowns, we can't write them off. They've done well. They've got quality players. They seem to have come right now and starting to play very well again. So, for me, important to try and just get 1 point out of this game against Dortmund.
It's going to be an exciting group here, and well, fingers crossed for Mamelodi Sundowns. And from our point of view, since we discussed German football as well, fingers crossed for Borussia Dortmund. Now, we look into Hollywoodbets, and they're giving back to all things good in South African sports. Jerry Skosana will be joining us. We'll be talking about the Kaba Cup out in Umlazi. So as promised, joined by the ambassador for Hollywoodbets, that being Jerry Skosana, who was at the Kaba Cup out in Umlazi. Hollywoodbets giving back once again. Jerry, tell us about everything that happened up at Umlazi, since you're a traveling man with Hollywoodbets one of these days.
Wow, what a tournament. I mean, what I've experienced is something out of this world. To be honest, you can always give it to the supporters. I mean, the people that came in numbers. Because the most difficult part of this tournament is like if you're going to go to the final, you need to play 4 games in 2 days because they've got 16 teams, and then on a Saturday they've got 4 venues where all 4 teams are playing to have the winners there to qualify for the semi-finals on the following day, where it's a Kingswell team. But you know, the talent that you see, I think also the field that they are using is just conducive for good football. That's where you could see good players, because there's no complaint of bumpy pitch or in the gravel, as we call it, a kasi. You know, for me, it was just something out of this world. I can always say it's the World Cup of KZN. I saw something different, the talent, you know, the way these players are playing. That's why KZN is gonna come. It's going to come. If there are teams that are looking after these young boys, I think there is big talent that I saw in this Kaba Cup.
So let's find out more about what happened out in Umlazi.
As the sun rises in KwaZulu, so does the spirit of the Kaba Cup, with football taking center stage in Umlazi. This isn't a normal football tournament. This is an iconic spectacle in Durban, and one that is proudly powered by Hollywoodbets and founded by former Kaizer Chiefs and South Africa Under-23 international midfielder Manqoba Mkhize.
I think the Kaba Cup is no longer just a big tournament in KZN. I think one could argue that it now starts to rival some of the biggest Kasi festivals or tournaments in the country. I'm even tempted to say it's probably one of the biggest Kasi festivals or tournaments in the country. And I think it's a testament to the man behind the tournament, I think. Manqoba Mkhize, his calm demeanor, his loving nature, the way he's just approached his post-career, you know? I think it's a testament to him and his nature. That's why people turn out in such large numbers, and that's why people support him so much, you know? But again, it's another initiative that's added onto this tournament, is that it's not just a development tournament, it's also a talent identification tournament. And that's why so many people want to come and see the stars before they land into the sky. We need to be where the fans are. We need to sprinkle the purple dust, the purple love, the purple happiness everywhere where football is being played. And what we do as Hollywoodbets is provide hope and give a little bit of a reprieve from tournament organizers and people that are around these tournaments to not worry about the financial side, to not worry about the burdens that come with organizing tournaments. We take the burden away from them so they can concentrate on providing outstanding football on the field and showcasing some of the best footballing talent in our country.
Yeah, it's my first time attending the Kaba Cup. Yeah, I'm really impressed with a lot of things. I mean, came here very early in the morning. The crowd was already here from just before 9, they're already almost half full. And you can see now as time goes on, people are coming in droves.
I I'm very proud to be associated with the Hollywoodbets because njengoba besupporta ama-tournament akanje, this is where we find stars, this is where we find ama-diamond okuthi awakabi ready ukuthi angathathwa asiwe ezingeni eliphezulu, but sibathola la and ukusuka kwabo la bayahamba bayokhula sibabone ku-professional football yala eNingizimu Afrika.
What a spectacular. I'm attending this one for the first time, and into engimangazayo the way the crowd in ngakhona, I never expected to see so many people attending a tournament, football tournament at this level.